Hello friends, happy Thursday. It is time for our weekly card class. My name is Rachel Trout and I have been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for almost 13 years. Every Thursday I come here for a live card class with you. So hello, and let me know if you are watching either live or if you're watching the replay here on Facebook or later on YouTube. I am happy you are here. Today we have a lot of things to chat about. Stampin' Up! Announced a whole bunch of things to us as demonstrators this week, and I'm going to share some of those things with you. The most exciting thing is that today they have a 24-hour stamp sale going on, and so if you are shopping and earning this week's card kit for today's class, if you shop today, you can get in on that sale too. So all of our stamps are 15% off today. The sale also includes some stamp tools like our clear blocks, the Simply Chamois, our stamp cleaner, and things like that. So you can check them all out in the stamps section of the online store. There might even be a section that you can click on, like a banner that says something about the sale. But when I'm done, I'll put a shopping link in the description so you can check that out. The only thing that the sale excludes is stamps that are on our last chance list, because some of those are already discounted, maybe even more than 15%. So you can get in on that. If you have a shopping cart that is getting close to $100, like maybe $75, $80, you might want to consider adding your items to a starter kit instead. The starter kit has free shipping, so you won't have to pay the shipping cost. Plus, it's $99, so you're not spending too much more than you were planning to spend, but you can pick out $125 of product. Get the free shipping, you get a free pass paper pumpkin kit, and then you unlock a whole lot of other things that'll be fun for you, like a 20% discount on your future purchases. So just consider that if you're shopping today and your total gets close to $100, then you might want to think about that instead. Let's see what else. I have some things here on my desk to show you and talk about. We are going to get to card making before too long. I have 3 cards to share with you today using the Floral Charm Suite Collection. And like I kind of mentioned, if you would like a card kit to make those 3 cards, you can shop with me now through Tuesday. And if you spend more than $50 before tax and shipping and after Stampin Rewards, I will send you a card kit to make the 3 cards that we are making today. And I also like to send the cards that I make in my videos. So make sure you are commenting. I draw random winners from all the comments on Monday and send out cards to those lucky winners. So I think I'm going to flip the camera down. I do have a few more things to show you before we do the card making. Like I said, Stampin' Up! Announced a lot of things this week. Let's see. They switched the buttons on me. Now they're in a different spot. Don't you love when Facebook does that? It goes through changes and then you got to figure out where everything is again. Oh, we've got a fly in here. He's going to join our card class today. All right. I have my paper pumpkin box here. I was looking to see if I could find the ad for the October paper pumpkin kit. It is going to be a special Christmas box, and I could not find the picture or the flyer about it, and so I brought in my August paper pumpkin to show you kind of what you can expect. But the October box is always my favorite because it's Christmas cards, and so paper pumpkin is like our monthly subscription box. It's usually cards. Sometimes it is something else, like usually the November box is like Christmas tags or something like that, or treat packaging. But the October box is always Christmas cards. Now this was the August one. So every month you're going to get an exclusive stamp set. And it even comes, I took the tissue paper out of mine, but it comes wrapped in tissue paper like a little gift. August kit actually had a bonus stamp set, so that was kind of fun. It comes with an ink spot. It's a different color each month. So in August, it was Secret Sea. And then you can see, I have not even opened mine yet, but everything is shrink wrapped together and it comes with supplies to make your project. So this was the August one. And I'm just going to slice it open so you can kind of see everything is included in these. which is really nice. The projects are usually super cute, pretty easy to put together. And like I said, I love the October one because it's usually Christmas cards. So you even get your glue dots here. Some linen thread, sorry. They were mini glue dots. Here's all my pieces. So they usually have coordinating envelopes too, which is fun. You've got pre-printed card bases. So we've got a few like that. I think this one made 9 cards. We've got some little punch-out pieces. Isn't that typewriter cute? These were more pieces that went on the cards, more punch-outs. Okay, so lots of fun stuff, and then you get the instructions. They also do like an unboxing video every month. So if you are a more visual person, you can watch the unboxing video, and they show how to put the projects together as well. But printed instructions if you've bought any of our kits similar to that. So that's kind of Paper Pumpkin, but like I said, it's our monthly subscription box. The subscription period is open now for the October kit, which is Christmas cards. And I will put a link to subscribe in the description of the video, but you can subscribe now through October 10th. And then they start, oh, I forgot to put these in there. They start billing and sending kits on the 11th of the month. So it'll be a little bit before you get your kit, but it'll be lots of fun. And then you get fun, happy, crafty mail every month in your mailbox. Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about, let's go to my monthly card club. So this is the suite of products that we're using today, the Floral Charm Suite, and I also use this for my monthly card club. This is kind of like Paper Pumpkin. You get happy, crafty mail in your mailbox every month, but this is like a step up from that. So you're going to make 8 cards every month. And I don't know if I can fit them all on the screen. I'll do my best to try. So I do 4 designs every month, and you will get supplies to make 2 of each. The difference is you're going to do a little bit more of your own crafting with my kits than you do with Paper Pumpkin. So you're going to get a half package of the Designer Series paper in your kit, and all the measurements and the instructions are in the tutorial. So you cut your own paper. The cardstock pieces are all cut for you. So that is similar. You are going to get a whole package of these gems. You're going to get half a roll of this braided linen trim. And you'll have some leftovers in your kit from me. You get all the cardstock bases. If the die cutting is part of the bundle, like the Floral Charm bundle. So let's say on this card, this piece, I'll give you a piece of white cardstock so you can stamp your flowers, and then you'll use your dies to cut it out. I'll give you a piece of Mossy Meadow cardstock, and you'll use the dies to cut out the leaves. But like on this one, this die is not part of the set, this rectangle, so I would die cut that for you ahead of time. Same with this piece right here, this embossed piece. I would emboss that for you ahead of time. Hopefully that makes sense. So you have the option to add on this bundle to your monthly card club kit, or you can buy it yourself and earn Stampin Rewards in the store. Or maybe you want to buy it and earn today's card kit so you can make even more cards with this bundle. So these are the 4 cards. I include a printed tutorial in your card kit, as well as sending you a PDF. What else? It costs $44 a month, and it's a subscription through PayPal. So I posted a sneak peek with a link on my Facebook page this morning, but I will put a link to subscribe in the description of this video as well. The deadline is coming up on Saturday for this month's kit, so you'll have to subscribe by then if you want to get the kit for these cards. And then whatever day you sign up, you will get charged on that same day of the month every month until you stop it. So let's say you sign up today. Every month on the 18th, you'll get charged for the next month's kit. I can tell you that I'm going to be using Christmas products for my monthly card club in October, so that's exciting. But if you have any questions about that, just leave them in the comments or let me know and I am happy to answer those questions for you. Did I say the cost? It's $44 a month. Okay. That includes the shipping too, so there's not an extra shipping cost. Okay, last thing I want to talk about before we get to card making is this advent calendar. This was another announcement this week from Stampin' Up! That they are going to be offering a 12 days of crafting advent calendar. So I know many advent calendars are 24 days. This one is a little bit different. I think part of that is they wanted to keep the cost somewhat reasonable because craft supplies maybe cost more than like your chocolate advent calendar, your Lego advent calendar, things like that. But this is going to be awesome. I can tell already. So every Monday, Stampin' Up! Does a call in our leaders group. If you have a certain title with Stampin' Up!, you get to be a part of this leaders group, and they kind of preview things. And they opened up the first couple of boxes just to show us. And I think these products are going to be a lot of fun and awesome. They're not Christmas themed. They are more like all day occasions. So, you know, if you're opening this leading up to Christmas, you are ready for more crafting. That is not Christmas. You can kind of see a peek of some of the products in these little cards here that are samples. This also comes with a stamp set. It's pretty large. It's 2 sheets of stamps, and that is not one of the 12 boxes. So it's the 12 gifts for your advent calendar plus the stamp set. The price is $99, and this is going to be available to purchase starting next week on September 23rd. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about it is this is the first time Stampin' Up! Has offered something like this. In demonstrator groups, I know for sure the last few years people have been asking for something like this, so I think it's awesome that they listened and they're doing it. I also think they probably have no clue how many people are going to buy it. It's while supplies last, so if you like it and you want it, I would go ahead and buy it next week because I just have no idea how fast they're going to sell out. I don't know what their inventory is. I don't know what the demand will be for it. But I think it's a really cool and fun idea. Now, my next thing is I have a few questions for you because I've been tossing ideas around in my head about this. And what I think would be fun to do is for me to get it and make projects with the products inside and share 12 pre-recorded videos with you during the 12 days of Christmas, which is December 26th through January 6th. So that kind of in between Christmas and New Year's time, when maybe you have some extra time to craft and you would like to craft with the things you opened up in your advent calendar. So here's my question to you. Would you be interested in something like that? I really wonder how many people are going to be able to wait that long to open their advent calendar if they buy it next week. Are you going to open it or are you going to save it? I don't know. Will it be old news by the time we get to after Christmas? And if I do videos then, will it not be relevant? Let me know your thoughts in the comments because I really am curious. I think it sounds like a fun idea, but I don't know if it makes sense. So help me out. Let me know in the comments what you think of that and whether or not you think this is something that you might want to buy. I love the little rainbows. So that right there is kind of making me want to get it because I love rainbows. So that's the advent calendar. It goes on sale on Tuesday. Okay, let's move on to our products for today. We are going to be using the Floral Charm Suite Collection. This is one of our online exclusive suites that came out this summer. And you might be thinking to yourself, I do not need another floral bundle. I thought that too, but then I had to get it. So maybe I'm going to convince you today. If so, I'm sorry to be an enabler, but I think it has some good sentiments. I like the fonts. I like the flowers. I like that there are some detailed dies, and the paper and the embellishments are just gorgeous. So this is the bundle, stamps and dies. We will be using those today. Let's take a look at the embellishments. These are the Charming Shimmer faceted dots. So they come in Petal Pink, Berry Burst, and Night of Navy. Love all these colors, and I love anything shimmery. So those are beautiful. The ribbon in this suite is a braided linen trim in Petal Pink. Now this is a little bit thicker, and I wouldn't tie a bow with it on a card, but you can also unbraid it and use the threads. And I have been loving that because it's fun to have a different color. And I like that kind of more ragged look from unbraiding it than you get with just like a normal twine or thread. So actually I really like this, but I wouldn't recommend tying bows. I mean, you could, but it's going to be really, really fat and add a lot of bulk to your card. So I probably wouldn't do that, but lots of other things you can do with it. We're actually not going to use this on our cards today. We're going to use another ribbon. We're going to use the Mossy, Meadow, and Gold 1/4 inch ribbon because it matches pretty well too. And I thought it would be a good complement. So let's take a look at the paper because this is the showstopper, I think. I think the colors in here are so pretty. They are some of my favorites. We've got Berry Burst, Blackberry, Bliss, and Pretty Peacock, 3 of my favorites. Mossy Meadow, which I almost never use, but is really pretty on this pattern, I think. Oops, sorry, I bumped the camera there. We've got Blackberry Bliss pattern on the back. This one is really pretty too with the Timid Tiger, Night of Navy, and Mossy Meadow. And I really don't think they list all the colors in the paper anymore. I feel like there's Cajun Craze in here too. But maybe it's just a different shade of the Timid Tiger. I don't know. And there, speaking of Timid Tiger, there is a nice Timid Tiger pattern on the back. This one's really pretty too. And I feel like the paper doesn't say there's petal pink in it. But why would they make petal pink trim if there wasn't petal pink in the paper, right? I think that is petal pink. And this almost looks more Cajun Craze to me again, but hard to say. Then we've got a nice pretty peacock pattern. This one is really pretty. I realize I haven't actually used this sheet of the designer series paper yet. So maybe that's going to be used on a card I share tomorrow because this one is really pretty with the Berry Burst. And I've seen pecan pie paired with this pattern too. I don't think that's the brown in there. I'm not sure what that is actually, but it is pretty. A Berry Burst wash on the back. And this one too, not a color combination that I would ever come up with on my own because it includes orange and Mossy Meadow, which I rarely use. But we've got Timid Tiger, Mossy Meadow, and Berry Burst, and I actually really like this pattern. So even colors that you don't like, sometimes when they are put together in a pretty paper, there you go. There's a Mossy Meadow back. And then this one, of course, I love these colors. And this looks almost, this is probably the Pretty Peacock. Sometimes Pretty Peacock looks like Shaded Spruce to me. Are you guys seeing that fly in and out of the video today? He's totally flying around my head. So, all right, and a Night of Navy background on that. I like how this paper has, you know, the more busy side, and then it has the more neutral side on the back, which is fun. Okay, here is our first card today. I shared this one on Monday, and this one I pulled out the purples because purple is my favorite color. Now, if you order this week and get the card kit, it's going to come to you like this. Everything's sorted in an envelope for you. And so we're going to pull these out and put our first card together here. So this one has a Blackberry Bliss card base for 5.5 by 8.5. And we'll fold that in half. And then I have 2 pieces of the designer series paper here. So you can see I just used the back and the front. This one measures 3 inches by 5 inches. And then this one is 1 inch by 5 inch. Now this is kind of directional because it has the leaves and things going up and down. So I want to make sure I have it in the right direction. But then I'm going to tear the edge just to add a little texture to my card. And I don't want to tear off a ton. But if you pull it towards you, you will expose that white edge, which adds a little bit of texture and interest to your card. All right, so now we have a piece that is going to measure about 3 3/4 by 5. So I'm going to just adhere this to my card base, and we're just going to kind of make sure that we have an even edge on all sides and that our torn edge overlaps this other piece of designer series paper. So I want to line up the top here. The edge is about the same. And we've got it covered, so there we go. Isn't that cool? I like that torn edge look. I don't know if you do or not, but I think it's great. Okay, we are going to stamp our sentiment on here. This circle I have die cut with our Spotlight on Nature dies. We're going to stamp in Blackberry Bliss ink to match our card base and our designer series paper. And we're going to use our sentiment, "Thanks for being you." So we'll stamp that right in our circle. There we go. And then I have 2 Mossy Meadow leaves that I've cut with the Charming Day dies. Those will be layering pieces behind the sentiment. They're kind of tangled there. Okay, so 2 leaf pieces. And then we're going to use one of the leaf stamps in the stamp set as another background piece. So I'm stamping in my Memento black ink. And then we're just going to pull in our Pretty Peacock Stampin' Blends markers. And I'm just going to color the dark over that vein in the leaves, and then we'll fill in with the light. Now, if you wanted to use one of the greens too, so I'll tell you on our next card, I'm using Old Olive as my green for my leaves on the next card. I got out my Mossy Meadow Stampin' Blends, and well, I told you I don't like Mossy Meadow very much. So I had not used those Mossy Meadow Stampin' Blends in a very long time, and they both happen to be dried out. So I ordered a new set today when I put in my stamp sale order. But the Old Olive is a complementary color to Mossy Meadow, I think. So I just used that instead. Okay. Thank you to Stampin' Up. We have a die that cuts out this little leafy thing, so we do not need to fussy cut. So let me pull in my die cutting machine here, move things out of the way so we can cut this guy. I don't know how much you can see in the screen. Maybe I'll try and move it up a little. So I found with this set of dies, a lot of times you cannot see a white edge around your stamped image. A lot of times the die hugs that edge of the stamped image. But on this set, there is a little bit of a white border, and it just makes the white border around the stamped image a little bit wider. So I don't know why this die set is different like that, but it is. At least mine is. So you've got a little bit of a wider edge, and you can actually see a little bit of white around it when you are die cutting. All right, move that out of the way. I'm going to try and set it where it's not going to topple off my desk. Okay. I'm going to stick that die back on here so he doesn't get lost, and we will finish assembling. All right, so my sentiment's going to go over the top. I'm going to use a little bit of glue to glue my leaves on. We're going to put one on the top and one on the bottom of the sentiment, kind of off to the side. Just a few little dots of glue. And we'll make this one go up here. Now you can lay this out ahead of time if you would like to make sure you know exactly where everything's going to line up. Since I have my sample to look at and I've done it once already, I'm not going to do that. Hopefully I won't regret that decision. And then we're going to put this one underneath on this side. So same thing, a little bit of glue. And we'll put that down here. Now before I add the sentiment over the top of that, I'm going to fold a piece of my Mossy Meadow ribbon. So you can just kind of eyeball how much you need, fold it back and forth. Grab my scissors here. And I like to just put a little line of my Stampin' Seal Plus across where that ribbon's going to lay to just kind of help hold it in place. And then we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of our sentiment, and I'm still kind of holding the ribbon there. Probably should have put these dimensionals on here before I did the ribbon so it was all ready, but that's okay. All right, not upside down. So there we go. Kind of center that over the ribbon and our leaves. And then we've got to grab our gems. Let me see where I put those. Here we go. I'm going to use some of the Berry Burst, and I totally forgot to bring my Take Your Pick tool in here today, so we will use our scissors as backup. This is what I used to do before we had the Take Your Pick tool. And I'm just going to kind of try and find the open spaces in the Designer Series paper. If you put it over one of these leaves or flowers, it kind of gets lost in there a little bit. So I'm trying to find the more open spaces of the paper so that we'll be able to see those shimmery gems. The scissors do not work nearly as well as the Take Your Pick tool, but that's okay. It's a little plug for the Take Your Pick tool if I have not convinced you on that yet, because I love using that. All right, there is our first card. So I am going to tuck that in this envelope, and I will draw a lucky winner from the comments on Monday to send this beautiful card to. All right, let me move that one out of the way, and we will bring in our second card. So this one, we're going to use the Pretty Peacock, and this is actually one of my favorite patterns in the paper, although it's hard to pick because I really do love a lot of patterns in this paper pack. All right, this one has a Pretty Peacock card base, 5.5 by 8.5, and we will fold that in half. And then a piece of that Floral Charm Designer Series paper. This piece is 1 3/4 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to adhere that just to the bottom of my card base here. Now this one is a kind of a fun layout. I saw this layout as a sketch from another demonstrator, Dawn Griffith, a week or two ago, and I saved it. She did a Halloween card with it, but I thought it was a fun layout, so I borrowed it for today's card. This is a piece of white that is 3 inches by 4 inches, and I've embossed this with, it comes from a set of our narrow, smaller embossing folders, the Glass and Gardens embossing folders. So this is one of them. It's part of the celebratory Sips suite, you know, with the different fun drinks and bright colors. It has this embossing folder and then a floral one, but I used this one for our background piece today. So again, this piece is 3 by 4, and I'm going to lay it at an angle. Then we have a circle, and this is punched with our 2 3/8 inch circle punch, and this is just the other side of that Designer Series paper. So I like how the patterns and then their backgrounds kind of match each other. I mean, that's Stampin' Up! Coordination for you, but one is busier and one is more subtle, and they actually work really well together. So we're going to line that up there, and then next we need to do some stamping. So I have a piece of Petal Pink here that is 3/4 inch by 3 inches, and we are going to stamp our sentiments. So we have the word hey, and then I'm going to use You Made My Day, but there's also another one in there. Let's see, Can't Wait to See You Soon, so you could use that one instead if you want. And I'm stamping in Pretty Peacock ink, and I'm going to stamp off to the left side because some of that right side is going to get covered up. Let's see, was I supposed to put this underneath the circle? No, I wasn't. Okay. Just checking, because I could see myself doing that. Glue the circle down, and then we're supposed to put the sentiment underneath, but no. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone for now. I also have a piece of white here. This is the smaller of the 2 floral images in the stamp set, and we're going to stamp this in Memento Black and color with our Stampin' Blends. And I just think these are really fun flowers to color. They're nice and open and easy to color. Okay, so like I said, my Mossy Meadow blends were all dried out. So I'm using Old Olive, but if you have Mossy Meadow, then you could use that instead. And I'm going to color the leaves the same way I did on the first card. I'm just coloring the vein of the leaf with my dark Old Olive. And then we will fill in the rest of the leaf. Can't talk today. Fill in the rest of the leaf or the leaves with my light Old Olive. And if you go over the middle a little bit more, that helps to blend the dark into the light. So it's not a harsh line. It also gives you a little more color around the middle. So it goes from light to dark and it looks like you shaded it, when really you were just coloring, right? So I've said this before, if you've watched me color, every time you color over again with our Stampin' Blends markers, it's just adding another layer of color. So you can get lots of shades just with one marker by adding more layers of the color, which I think is really cool. I'm also leaving a little bit of a white edge around the leaves. Someone shared that tip with me one time. It helps it look more realistic. I also find that sometimes our Stampin' Blends markers bleed just a little bit, and so if you color too close to the edge, then sometimes as the ink is drying and moving, it goes outside the lines and makes you look like a poor colorer, which you're not. So if you leave that little white edge, it looks more realistic and it helps you not go outside the lines. Now for the flower, I'm using Petal Pink. So I have my dark Petal Pink here, and I'm just going to color over a few times the middle, so that's nice and dark. And then we're just going to color up from the middle a little bit with our dark, and then I'll finish with my light Petal Pink. Now if you wanted your flower to be a different color, you can for sure do that. I thought the Petal Pink was a nice contrast to the pretty peacock, since we are putting this on a pretty peacock circle. Now this one I'm leaving even a little bit more white at the edge, just because I feel like the flower would get lighter and lighter towards the edge, and I think it looks really nice that way. All right, now we have a die to cut this one out too, which is awesome. And same thing, this one has more of a white edge, I think, than some of our other dies. I don't know why that is, but it is. So we are going to line this up, and you will see some of that white edge with this one. Just a little bit of it. So we'll run this through. Like that. And I think that's all I'm using this for, so I am going to fold it up and get it out of the way. Okay, put that die away so he doesn't get lost. All right, so next I want to put my sentiment on. Since this circle is already popped up with dimensionals, I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus on this side. And then I'll use a dimensional on this side. That way everything is kind of the same height. And then I'm going to fold a piece of the ribbon behind my flower again, but this time I'm just going to do it like this. I'm not going to fold back and forth. So I will cut that end to an angle and put a little bit of my Stampin' Seal Plus there. And then we'll put this flower over the top with dimensionals again. Maybe I need to move this just a bit. Let's see. The nice thing is the ribbon doesn't stick super hard to that Stampin' Seal Plus. It just helps, so you can move it around a little bit. right where we need it to go. I don't want to cover up my words. Okay, so there we go. And then we are going to use our Petal pink dots on this one. Be really cool if they had pretty peacock dots too. You could have done more colors of these shimmer dots, I think. And I would love it. I love anything shimmery. And let's see, we'll put that one down there. All right, so there is our second card. Let me grab my envelope for that one, and we will tuck that away for another lucky winner. All right, let's move on to our third card here. So this third one, I used this piece of the Designer Series paper with the Night of Navy, the Timid Tiger, and the Mossy Meadow. And I wanted to stamp that big flower, but I didn't want to color it this time. So that is how we came up with this card design. Let's get our pieces out for this one. All right, for this one we have a crumb cake card base, 5.5 by 8.5, and we'll fold that in half. And then I have another piece of crumb cake here that is 4 by 5.25, and I'm going to grab the large floral stamp in this stamp set and use my crumb cake ink. And we're just going to stamp this once in each, well, not in each corner. We're going to go in opposite corners. So one on this corner. And isn't this gorgeous? I mean, it's gorgeous colored, but I love how it looks in the crumb cake. Like, isn't that piece just so pretty? Okay. We could stare at that, but I won't make you stare at it for too long. All right, we're going to adhere this to our card base with my Stampin' Seal Plus. And you'll just have a little border, but it's the same color as this. Then I have a piece of Night of Navy that is 3 1/8 by 4 1/8, and the Designer Series paper is 3 by 4. So we're going to layer those together. And just a very narrow border. I just wanted it to kind of pop off of the crumb cake. You could do 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 and have a little bit of a wider border. But for this one, I just wanted that teeny tiny border to help it pop off the card. A lot of times when I am doing that with Designer Series paper, I will pick one of the darker colors out of the paper, because I feel like it makes it pop more against that more neutral, lighter background. Okay, then I have a label that I've cut out of basic white with our Nested Essentials dies, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment in Night of Navy ink, and that is the happy birthday. Oh my goodness, I've got stuff on my, oh, you know what it's from? Because I went off the edge on that flower and I didn't wipe it off. Next time I shall use scrap paper. All right, so that one is, we've got a little bit of crumb cake on there, but that's okay. I will send out the more perfect one to our lucky winner. All right, I'm going to add this with a few dimensionals also. This card is super quick and simple, but I think those flowers in the corner just make it really elegant and pretty. So there is our sentiment. We are going to tie a bow with our Mossy Meadow ribbon this time. Now this ribbon won't go with all the patterns in the paper, but any of the patterns that have Mossy Meadow in them, I think it looks really nice with. So if you got this ribbon, I think I used this one when we did the, oh, that was for my card club last month. I used it with the Painterly Pears paper, which is the suite it is a part of. So if you got that card club kit, you have some of this ribbon. All right, we will put that there, and then we're going to use our Night of Navy dots, and I'm just going to put one on each end. One there. That one's trying to get away from me. There we go. So there is our third card. All right, I'm going to put the one without the crumb cake smudges into the envelope for a lucky winner. And let's pull back in our other two cards so you can see all three again. Let me know in the comments which card was your favorite this week. It is hard for me to choose, but I think I'm going to go with the purple one because I love purple. So you let me know in the comments which one you liked best. Remember that if you would like a card kit to make these 3 cards, just shop now through Tuesday and spend more than $50 before tax and shipping and after Stampin Rewards, and I will send you a card kit to make these 3 cards. I will put links for everything I discussed in the video up in the description so that you can find them there. I will also have a list of suggested products that you might want to add to your order, things that I used on the cards today. But if you need help placing your order or if you have questions, please feel free to tag me, message me, and ask, and I am happy to help you. Have a great week, and I will see you again next week. Bye.